And so it's so important. We were talking about, we have like some notes here of like the 3 things that we wanted. So we talked about filtering, we talked about process and procedure, and this last one was data. How can we use what we filtered, our process and procedure, and the actual outcome and the data of what's happened already to then innovate the process and procedure, innovate our filter?
Yeah. So one of the things that I'll speak on with Jumping Jack Tax that I did was I looked at all of the partners from 2019. And this is crazy because all of this leads into what we're talking about, right? So in 2019, I think we signed up about 600 to 700 brand new partners into Jumping Jack Tax. And the craziest thing is, remember, 99% of those were phone sales, not actual digital sales, without really more of a qualification process of joining Jumping Jack Tax. So the craziest part is that out of those 700 people that signed up in 2019, only maybe 200 of them actually were active throughout the tax season.
What do you mean by that?
200 actually completed all of the steps that were necessary to actually run a physical tax.
That went through the process and procedure.
Correct. The other 500 either went missing, they either didn't pay off the remainder. 90% of them didn't pay the remainder of their balance. Yeah. The rest of them went missing.
They didn't finish tax school.
They had personal issues that came, and then they just like completely like went out of sorts. So like 500 people just disappeared. 200 actually stayed and actually were responsible, went through all of the steps, had a great tax season, by the way, because out of those 200 people, I want to say like 80% of them hit the 5-figure mark and headed towards 6-figure mark. Why? Because those were the qualified people. So of course, moving into 2020, I had to ask myself, well,
what happened?
Because I can't have another 2020 season where we're signing up over 1,000 partners yet again this year, and then only 200 of them again are active, and the other 800 that's not building a solid company.
So what was different in 2019?
What was different in 2019 was, again, leading to the beginning, I believe that 70% of the partners that joined in 2019 had no business and they weren't qualified and they weren't yet ready to be entrepreneurs. But since the opportunity of starting a tax business was so new, and obviously with me being an amazing salesperson, it makes sense. I can make sense.
And seeing that you were able to successfully do it.
And I can make sense of anything. And obviously, since I've done it myself and it makes sense, people are like, hey, I'm doing it. But in no way, shape, or form should I would say about 70% of the company have been even ready to go into entrepreneurship and take on the responsibility, or they may not even have been financially prepared, although they thought when they made the initial down payment that they would have been able to do it. But really, in reality, they weren't financially prepared.
Like, you mean like saying, oh, I'll be able to do it, but knowing that they were.
Yeah, like I'll be able to pay the $4,000 to start. Here go my $500 down payment. Next thing you know, damn, I ain't going to be able to pay the extra $2,500 that's required. So
because maybe something came in the mix, anything. My kid needed something.
Exactly.
I got locked out of my car. That was my $250 for my extra payment.
And then once the first payment falls off, everything from there derails. So at that point, that was the first part. That's the reason why through understanding that data, we moved the price point of Jumping Jack Tax to $5,000, and the initial down payment is $2,500, now 50%.
What do you think that changed?
That changed the quality of customer that's joining Jumping Jack Tax. And more importantly now, last year in 2019, we had 12-month payment plans, which was a disaster. Which I'll never do that. I'll never do that again.
Never happening.
It was a disaster because it gave people so much time to be able to pay when that allowed people to move things around and say, oh, I think I can do it now because I got 12 months. Now, from me learning that and realizing that 12-month payment plans was a disaster, now we moved it to 6 months. And with that 6 months, again, remember we talked about transparency and making it clear. Now it's very clear on the website. You don't get to choose. And then also last year in 2019, we allowed people to choose how much they could pay per month. That's a disaster. We should have never been lenient to allow people to say, hey, you know what, I'll just pay $100 a month. Well, you're going to be paying for 3 years until the rest of your balance is paid in full.
But you didn't have a process and
procedure. We didn't have a process. We wanted to be lenient. We wanted to give everybody the ability to start regardless of their financial situation, which obviously was not a good idea. So from understanding that data moving into 2020, that's no longer the case. It's $5,000 to start Jumping Jack Tax. You have to put $2,500 down, and there are 6-month payment plans of $334 a month. If you cannot afford to make your payment plans of $334 per month, please do not join. And it says
not
that.
For you. Just
it's
wait.
Not for you. I would encourage you to wait. Now we're not playing around with payment plans no more. We're not allowing people the ability to choose when they want to pay, how much they can pay. No, it's strict now. And a lot of people even ask me this and they challenge me on this. Well, Don, why is the policy for jumping jack tax more strict now? Now y'all becoming like these other tax companies that you said you didn't want to be like. Well, unfortunately,
I tried the other way.
I tried that way.
And now I know why they don't do it that way.
I tried that way, unfortunately. And I got burnt for it. It didn't work. So now I have to be more lenient.
And not only did you get burnt,
more strict.
Not only did you get burnt, but someone who's not qualified never blames themselves or their lack of due diligence, so you became the bad guy.
And it's okay. You know why?
Yeah.
Because, again, at the end of the day, I still take responsibility for that. That's my fault. That's 100% my fault. I cannot even blame that on the customer. No way, shape, or form. I failed in doing that. And with that being said, that's the reason why now the policy is more strict.
Yeah.
For those who were wondering, right? Because it failed in the past. So that's number one. That's the first piece of data that I pulled from that changed the actual payment side of jumping jack tax when joining. The second thing is that the reason why I think 70% of the company.
So, hold on. Sales, the way that you inquired your sales,
Yes.
the phone, and then pricing, and
Yes.
then what else did what data did you analyze?
So the next set of data I analyzed was why was it that 70% of the companies still fell off and never made it to full term into tax season when they had a full year to do so? Well, I think it was also because I could have done a better job with strengthening the training process. Now we have over 50 training videos in Jumping Jack Tax that are each hour and a half long.
In Jumping Jack
Inside
University?
of Jumping Jack University. When I tell you the information in there is so valuable, I'm talking about that information could literally teach you how to run a $6-figure to $1 million tax company because we've already done it. All the information inside of the university is everything that I have actually done.
Yeah.
Nothing fictitious. And we have partners who have made the money that have done their own trainings, teaching them exactly how they did it too. So this ain't fictitious info. But what I realized was it wasn't structured in a week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4, week 5 type of vibe. I put it more in it was more just all available, like kind of more like a YouTube style where it was all available, where you can look for the video that you're looking for. But what I realized is that the learning style of people, when I look back at it, is that people their learning style, especially if they're very new to this, never been entrepreneurs before, day in their lives, you cannot just give people a whole bunch of information and expect for them to go through it all responsibly and to figure it out.
So you're saying, in a nutshell, you lacked order.
Organization, lack of organization. From what I thought, I perceived that if it were me that got the information, I'm gonna go
watching
through.
every
I'm
video.
watching everything, so I'm good. But I realized that I can no longer perceive Jumping Jack Tax and the people signing up to be me. That's where the failure came. I cannot perceive them to be me. So moving into 2020, you know what I did? I'm redoing all of the trainings now, week over week, with all of the class of 2020 partners.
Our freshmen.
And I'm going to tell you about the response. It's ridiculous. Everything is in weekly format now.
Okay.
Week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4, week 5, all the way through 12. And I broke each of the 4 weeks up into subjects. The first 4 weeks are going to be about branding. How to brand your tax business, the tools that you're going to need for your tax business, the actual things you're going to need to legally run your tax business. We're going to be talking about all of those in the first 4 weeks. Weeks 5 through 8, which we're going through right now, we're going to be talking about your software, how the software works, bank products, what are your prices, like literally giving you that through 5 through 8.
Swatter.
And then weeks 9 through 12, we talk about marketing. So now I broke it up that way. And I'm realizing that now all of these partners that joined in 2020, when I tell you they have so much more clarity, they have so much more confidence, they are way more qualified.
Better understanding?
They have way better understanding. A lot of them are following along with the process. Many of them have already completed tax school already. Many of them already have their EFIN numbers. They already have their LLCs established. These are things that in 2019, 70% of the partners
struggling
didn't have.
to get from them.
Struggling to get from them. But in 2020, why are partners more proactive? It's most likely because, number one, I strengthened the qualification process of joining and raised the price up so only a certain type of qualified people can join. And number two, my training process of the week over week over week, has completely shaped the minds for them to be more confident, for them to be more active.
Got my taxes jumping, now my bag coming with that major money, dripping blessings. That might buy a house for my mama, bad credit. Don't even sweat it, cause they'll repair it.